How'd you think KT did getting back in the lineup?
Good. I think he took some good swings. He's just under that one, if I'm not mistaken. Deep to center on the third AB. And we just wanted to get him out there. I don't know. We could have used him at Georgia. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know how right I feel about a guy sitting for 2 weeks, not even getting to see any live pitching, and then being inserted in a game, the game being on the line situation, which is what it would have been. But actually, we were getting him ready Sunday. If we could have rallied a little bit better, he would have made an appearance then. So overall, it's just good to have him back. We made sure we got him out there. He looked really good defensively in pregame BP. He saved us a run just with his arm on the scouting report, and then took some good swings. Just, if you're just going to go off results, not a lot to show for it.
How would you assess Halverson's appearance, and then why'd you decide to give him some work there in center?
Well, those pitchers are about as goofy as it gets, but they do run around out there in the outfield, kind of like Sean Hunley, who just got recognized for how well he's doing. I mean, he got good enough, he could play infield for us. We joke about it, and I hope he doesn't hear this, but same thing. I mean, Fitz, it could have reversed. Fitz could go in the outfield, and some of those other guys out there, fancy themselves athletes, but they kind of work at it and do it enough that you trust them. And obviously, we had run the gamut with our pitchers, and we're just trying to create a safety valve there. Griffin had made the last out, so he wouldn't have come up for a while. You'd like to think we'd walk him off if we were going to have to hit again. So we just kind of did it that way. But he's been throwing the ball well. He's been determined to do better than he had, and it certainly has been that way.
How is Fanning starting to earn more and more trust with these last couple of outings?
I think so. It was awesome to see how well he did prior to going to Georgia, when we kind of gave him it wasn't a tryout, but a competitive situation, not in a game. And you always want to see guys treat that as something they need to attack, as opposed to it's like a penalty. And therefore, pitches at Georgia, great outing. Pitches here early in the game and did really well. Thought we were about to get in a rhythm there because Xander was great. I mean, it's kind of, you don't get wins, I guess, when you do it the way we do it, right or wrong. But now that he's established himself as a reliever in SEC weekends and doing this, the guy's done a lot for us the last 2 years.
What was your vantage point on that play at the plate in the sixth inning, and what took place after?
It's a double with 2 outs, so more times than not, you're going to send the guy and just make the team play catch, because you already got a hit with 2 outs, and it's not that we don't trust the guys behind him. That's just kind of baseball percentages. Unfortunately, we have one of our least fleet of foot guys running, and they did a good job of playing catch. So he tried to slide, underneath the tag. I mean, I didn't see anything there at all, and I don't know that the catcher did either. Maybe it happened faster than I saw, but the pitcher, to me, got all fired up. He could have thanked us. We got him out there. So then the rest is just guys, which I think the umpires did a really nice job. The guys are out of the dugout, and they're not supposed to leave their position, but they're all, on the dirt or the brown part of everything, just because they see something's going on. But again, I didn't see anyone react except for one person.
Was Inslee originally ejected? Because it looked like the umpire threw somebody out.
Well, I think he was pointing somebody out. And then again, in all the madness, I said we want to review the play. I can't see if he's safe or out. I mean, clearly the ball beat him by a lot. But it looked like he at least got to home plate. So we were going to review it. And to be honest with you, we were going to review it just to try and, calm the seas a little bit there. So in the midst of all that, there was a bunch of different discussions. And the bottom line is we got back out there and played ball. And nobody from either side or even the fans treated it like we were at a barroom brawl or something like that.
You still expect Burns to be available this weekend?
Yeah. I'm trying to run through who I was asked about. I was asked about KT in Georgia. And again, it's that time of year where you're not going to have anyone 100%. But it is nice with this group to come to the park and know that everyone's available, because our record is obviously better than it is when we don't have everybody available.
I know we didn't play tonight, but what's CalStar giving you behind the plate?
Just a lot of energy and a lot of direction, kind of what you want out of your point guard in basketball. And that could, at least that's the stereotype that would be thrown out there back, when I was trying to play, and you didn't have 6'6" point guards and stuff like that. But, a lot of direction for not just the pitchers, but also the guys out there. And then just a vibe that we kind of needed earlier in the year, or as the year progressed, we've built on that vibe of just guys being in it to win it. A cliche for a reason. And everyone can feel that. And you can certainly feel it from the other guy, too, who hit a grand slam. So it's nice to have two high-character kids at that position, as is Dickey and Miller. It's just we've kind of settled into those two guys are very capable defensively, and every now and then they give us a nice sock. 2 of our last 3 home runs, maybe, from those two guys, Chuck and Cal.
Just how impressive was that homer that Scott had, and then how nice was it to see Charlie have some success with the way that his season has gone?
Yes, he's got is maybe our fastest guy, and he wasn't running, and he hit it to the deepest part of the park, and he knew he got it. So that's how impressive it was. But the other thing was earlier in the at bat, kind of it wasn't going his way, and he's really matured a lot and able to kind of maintain composure in that situation and others where I think he would agree freshman year he probably doesn't. But he's got, for a guy who's, I don't want to call him small, because he could probably push me around, but for a guy who's, low center of gravity, compact dude, he's pretty strong. What was your other question?
Charlie.
Yeah, Chuck, that sounded like a buckshot when he hit it, kind of like a couple other really good ones we've had. And, the crowd, that's one of the louder ovations or just yells when the ball was struck and then when the ball hit the batter's eye that I've heard. It kind of speaks to, they appreciate the way he plays, and he's kind of a fan favorite, and he's a clubhouse favorite too. So those guys in the dugout were pretty dang fired up for him. And it played into the game, or it completely changed the way the game was going, and certainly gave us a cushion that we later knew we needed.
Do you have a theory on why Charlie's such a fan favorite, given that he's not an everyday starter?
I think part of it is the way he plays the game, and our kids are pretty good about signing autographs or being involved in the community, so the people know who they are, and I think that's kind of what's helped our fan base grow, is there's kind of a relationship there. So, probably if you're someone who does something wrong, somebody probably gets a hold of that, and when you do things right all the time, they've got that information as well, and I think that's who Chuck is. And then it just kind of got accentuated when he was thrown into a pretty interesting role there in last year's regional and handled it so well. It's fun to cheer for. Some people are like that, but there's a few reasons why.
From your vantage point, the 4 or 5 walks, whatever it was in the 6th inning, kind of what was going wrong on the mound?
Yeah, I think Bryce comes in and gets us out of the biggest moment, and it's 2-0, bases loaded. Your coach is supposed to put you in a position to succeed, not fail. But he was like Houdini, to steal John Wilkerson's words. And then because of the way it had gone, right or wrong, I mean, it's a delicate balance. Some of these guys, as long as they're competing, especially on the weekends, they've earned the right to, keep the ball in their hand. But also, we've got depth here, and we've also got kind of a proud deal. I think we went over 100 homers tonight. We led the country last year. That's great. We don't talk about that nearly as much as in recruiting and coaching and how we want to do things. So there's a high standard for pitching, and he certainly met it at the beginning of the outing. And towards the end, it's his biggest or highest pitch count total. And when it started to just kind of go wrong, where a couple borderline pitches are out of the zone and it's not going well, he just didn't right the ship as well as I'm sure he'd like to. And that's more difficult for hitters and pitchers this year with the pitch clock. You don't get as much time to step back and kind of catch your breath and all that stuff. So, but now he can say he's been in a bunch of difficult situations for us, and he's done really well in a lot of them, and some of them not so good, but he'll be prepared for the next one.